episode of 305 Vox Populi here in the town of Miami Lakes. I'm Mayor Manny Cid. We have a great guest today. Before we introduce him, I want to thank some of our incredible sponsors. First off, Fred Senra. We're powered by Miami Lakes AutoMall. These folks are amazing. One of the best car dealerships in all of Florida. And they're located at 16600 Northwest 57th Avenue here in Miami Lakes. Their phone number is 305-455-3510. Barrington, what do you think about this mural?
I love it.
Yeah?
Love it. Inspiration, man.
I love it. And a local artist was the one that put this together, Grisel Gajano, and you can contact her at 786-353-8608. Our food sponsor today was sponsored by Joseph Sosa. Thank you, Joseph. We really appreciate you. I know he's the one that coordinates a lot of this stuff behind the scenes. And our film production team, the Matter Lakes Bears. These folks are really, truly amazing. This is a live classroom. They do a great, great job every single day. And if you see their work product, it is out of this world. Incredible future that these folks have. So our guest today is Barrington Irving, the one, the only. He's a Miami Lakes resident. He's a great friend of mine. But this gentleman is truly, truly amazing. His story is one that I think we all have to hear because it's incredibly inspirational. Barrington, how you doing?
Doing well. Happy to be here. Appreciate the sponsors. Appreciate your time. And should be a fun session.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I know one thing that really inspired me about you. When you were in high school, you were an incredible football player. You had an opportunity to go to the Gators, UF.
Yeah.
But you had a scholarship, but you bet on yourself. And to me, making that bet, growing, kind of getting outside of that comfort zone is, remarkable. And I always see growth in human beings when they make those decisions. Those are tough decisions. Those aren't easy decisions to make. But I want you to walk us through that process to say, hey, I'm going to put this scholarship to the side and I'm going to bet on myself because my future is bright and we're going to move forward. We're going to inspire people. We're going to go on expeditions. We're going to break records. Talk to us about that process.
It's. I wish I thought of it in the way in which you described, because when I first started, all I wanted to do was play ball. I played ball at Miami Northwestern Senior High School, played fullback, a little bit of linebacker. So I was one of those kids who just wanted to go and play in the NFL. That changed when I had this random chance meeting with an airline pilot. I was in a store, saw this guy step out of a white Lincoln Navigator, dressed in this uniform, had a hat on, and a nice watch. And I'm just saying to myself, man, this brother looks like he makes a ton of money. Had no clue what he did, what his uniform represented. He walked in the store, saw that I was staring at him, and he approached me. He said, hey, son, you ever thought about becoming a pilot? I said to him, I don't think I'm smart enough to fly an airplane. So I asked him one question, and I said, how much money do you make? And he leaned over, this was back in 2001, whispered to me, he said, son, I make $117 an hour.
Oof.
And I'll never forget looking up at him, and it was as if the heavens were behind him, and I said, legally? He was like, yeah, it's a real job. This is what I do. And that's where the interest began. And then my former high school teacher, Miss Batiste, big shout out to her. Couldn't stand this woman when I was in school, but she's the one who really pushed me and said, Barrington, forget about football, pursue a career in aviation. And if it wasn't for her, I probably would have never considered a career in aviation, although I had interest. But, we look at all these STEM careers, it's intimidating. And a lot of kids are intimidated by these different, industries. And she's the one who really pushed me.
No, that's truly, truly amazing. And making that bet and flying around the world solo, right? Going from that decision, hey, you know what? I'm at Northwestern, which is an amazing school, an amazing program. The amount of NFL players and people that have left that school and succeeded have been truly amazing. So, but making that decision and being now saying, hey, you know what? I saw the opportunity to make good money, but this is more about money. I want to inspire people. But being the youngest person to fly around the world at 23 years old. I'll be real with you. I get nervous flying from here to Orlando. So flying around the world by myself, I can only imagine.
Let me say this. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm actually afraid of heights. I know it makes no sense, but I'm afraid of heights. And there are a lot of pilots afraid of heights. But, when you're in an airplane and you learn all the math and science behind what you're doing, and you understand how to control forces and do different things. It just came naturally to me, and it's aviation really changed my life, and flying around the world. I actually didn't know I'd set any Guinness World Records or do any of those type of things, and it wasn't until right before the journey began, folks from the media started to say, hey, do you realize you'll be the youngest person to do this and the first black man? And to be able to create that sense of inspiration, I think that was the most fascinating part about it, because when I came to Opelika Airport, I had 3 holes in the bottom of those shoes. I still have those shoes saved till this day to remind me, my kids, and all of our team members at the company, of where I came from. But let me tell you, aviation opens you up to so many different things. And before I flew around the world, the only place I've been to internationally was Miami and Jamaica, where I was born. So I'm traveling to all of these different countries with different beliefs and systems and different forms of respect. And yeah, it was a crazy experience. But 97 days, 145 flight hours, 27 stops, 13 countries in a single engine airplane.
In a single engine airplane?
Yeah.
Man, were there any times during this flight that you looked around and you're like, man, what am I? This
Plenty.
Yeah.
Plenty. There's plenty. Number one, I made the flight with no weather radar. So imagine you're dealing with thunderstorms.
What is it called? All visual?
Yeah, pretty much visual. You're like, oh, those clouds look too dark. Let me go the other way, type of deal. No weather radar, no de-icing, which is very dangerous. And I had a situation, for example, leaving Japan, trying to get into Shemya, Alaska, which is in the edge of the Aleutian chain. Russia wouldn't allow me through their airspace, and I'll never forget, airline pilots were saying, divert to Russia or turn back to Japan. Didn't have enough fuel to turn back to Japan. And this flight was in 2007, so to go to Russia, I didn't have permission, and I was afraid they'd shoot me out the sky.
Wow.
So they started talking to me and said, look, we'll let your parents know that we spoke to you. And that was a 10.5-hour flight by myself. And I didn't think I was going to make that one. And there was a couple other ones I didn't think I was going to make. But I landed with 12 minutes of fuel left in my airplane.
And where did you land?
Shemya, Alaska. It's literally in the middle of nowhere in the Bering Sea. And when you land there, there's a small little sign that says, well, a big sign that says it's not the end of the world, but you can see it from here. I thought that was hilarious. But there's a small military installation there to watch for missiles and aircraft, and that's it.
God is good. God was watching over
Amen to that.
Yep. So talk to us about breaking racial barriers, right?
Yep.
So you mentioned you're the first black man to fly the world solo, but inspiring young black men here in Miami to say, hey, you know what? I can do that. I could switch and I could do that, and we can do, but breaking that racial barrier, what did that mean to you, and what does that mean to inspire those future generations?
To be honest with you, it wasn't until I completed that flight where I realized the significance of setting the record, and especially that aspect. There were multiple records set, but that aspect of it, being the first black man to do something like that, that really opened up my eyes to, okay, it was more than something cool or amazing to do. I had an obligation. So with a lot of job offers that I had, I said, you know what if I just got involved with helping kids? Didn't really know what I was doing. But one thing I'm pretty good at is understanding what students want, right? Regardless of age, race, income level, kids just simply want to be inspired. So I knew that, and we did a project where we took 60 kids from failing schools here in Miami, and we challenged them to build an airplane. And then I flew it. And then we took another group of kids.
Wait. So you had a group of local kids that built an airplane, and you actually got it up in the air?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And they did that build in 10 weeks. That was the crazier part. So we got a lot of attention for that, and then we got kids to build a car faster than a Ferrari 430 Spider, and we took it and raced it against a jet. And then we just started doing all of these different projects with students, and that left such an impact. But I said I can't reach every kid that way, so we created Flying Classroom, where I travel around the world doing crazy expeditions that's focused on what you have to learn in school, and we practically bring it to life, and so many kids, they're in class and they say to themselves, when will I ever need to use this stuff in life? And a lot of times we can't answer that question for them, right, without showing a tangible way. So we try to do that Flying Classroom, and it's been fun.
No, that's really amazing. I think it delves into that educational piece. Why do you believe STEM is so important for our youth going forward? And I think you've allowed or created those opportunities to say, hey, imagine those kids now saying, I went from a failing school to where I'm partnering with Barrington Irving to build an airplane, to build a car. You know what I mean? And how do we make sure that everybody has access to that STEM education?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, part of the problem is, there's a couple of problems, but one of the big challenges is a lot of adults don't even know about STEM careers. I know you're very well versed in it because you work with tons of different industry partners, but a lot of adults really don't know. If I said, all right, tell me 5 different or 7 different types of engineers, most folks, you'll be lucky if they could make it past 2 or 3 or 4. But the other challenge is STEM is more than engineering, right? There are all of these different career fields. For example, I'm involved in an initiative with Bombardier where they're a major private jet manufacturer, right? They manufacture an aircraft that costs $75 million.
Wow. They
can't find anyone to work on them. Why? Because we don't have the technicians. We don't have pilots. We don't, and a lot of it is really awareness and understanding the opportunities that are out there. And these are opportunities where you don't need to go to school for 6, 8, 10 years. These are opportunities you just need to go to school for 18 months, 24 months. You're done, you're out, and you're in industry, and that is part of the challenge in getting the message out there. Let's be honest, when COVID hit, I looked at who lost jobs and who gained, right? And a lot of STEM-oriented careers, there's still many jobs to fill that our kids don't know about. And I know you know this because you work with multiple industries here in Miami Lakes.
No, Barrington, that's a great point. And that's especially for the kids here, and I know the ones that are going to be working on this interview. Listen, when you make a decision in the next 2-3 years, maybe a year, because I know there's some seniors in this class, what are you going to do in the future? I mean, listen up to what Barrington just said. We got to build. There's this private company, $75 million plane. There's not enough people to work there. No. And I think that's one way to get that message across, because a lot of times people make decisions. Hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z, do this. But the reality, those are industries that might not be gaining new jobs, might kind of, they're regressing. But you hit it on the head. I mean, you got to go into those different fields. So one quote that sticks out that you stated: "I like to do things people say I can't do." I mean, what does that mean to you, and how does that need to resonate with the youth?
I think a lot of kids growing up, you're always told what you can't do, right? And that's why some kids rebel. That's why some kids get in trouble, and some kids just go out and do it anyway. And I think it's learning how to channel that energy, channel that focus, to be able to not only prove a point, but in proving things, you create inspiration and you create motivation, and you create a lot of different things for different people that's watching. And it's just something to me. I remember when we did the project with building the airplane. You know how many people said...
Is that the build and soar?
Yeah, build and soar. Yeah, with building the airplane. You know how many people said to me, oh, you can't... There's no way you could pull that off. It's too complex. Keep in mind, these were with kids who had no aviation background. But see, that's part of the challenge in society, right? Everything has to be done in a way where you're a subject matter expert at it. No, that's not true, right? You have plenty of radical entrepreneurs out there, and not only me, there's plenty of them out there that they can create, they can vision, they can execute, they can do all these different things. And I don't think we teach our young people that when they're young. We just don't. You know, when we do all these different types of builds, or I conduct an expedition and students are able to virtually see that come together and do a lesson, we don't empower young people to truly say, hey, you can do amazing things in life. And that's part of what's missing. We're always telling them what they can't do. We never say what they really can do.
No, you're absolutely right. One thing I really appreciate about you, and I think I'm very similar in that we don't want to hit that leadership plateau. We always have to be reinventing ourselves. I think whenever we hit that plateau and we stop learning, you kind of get bored, right?
Yep.
So how do you always keep, because it seems like you're constantly reinventing yourself, creating new opportunities, you know, being an entrepreneur, but at the same time, just, you know, you keep learning. And I think that's a real lesson for these kids, that you never, you might get your 4-year degree, you might get your master's, but you got to keep learning. You got to keep, the day you stop learning, I mean, that's the day you stop growing. And talk to us about that, and never reaching, you know, making sure that we never reach that plateau.
I mean, what's the saying? Comfort is the enemy of progress, right? And I never get comfortable. I mean, even with the different successes that I've had, my team's had, and I never get comfortable. And it has nothing to do with being a perfectionist. It has nothing to do with that. What it's about is, it's like you just said, you're always learning something different. You're always broadening your horizon, taking on a new challenge. And, you know, folks would say to me, oh, you're an overachiever, or you might be a perfectionist, or no, I just like to live life, man. And I just like to do things that is fun or enjoyable. And I think a lot of folks, especially in this day and age, because we have so much technology that does all these different things for us, and then we say, well, what really matters to me? What am I passionate about? You know, I remember years ago I'd ask kids that question, what are you passionate about? What interests you? And I've noticed as the audience gets younger and younger, and we have a new generation, that question becomes harder and harder to answer, because there's either all of these distractions, or, you know, kids just aren't able to focus on it. Not only kids, even adults, you know.
You know, they always say the sky's the limit, but maybe it's not. Maybe, you know, space exploration's in your future. Maybe, you know, but what's next for Barrington Irving? Because when I think about it, and I saw SpaceX, you see all these Elon Musk and all these different folks, you know, who was it, Jeff Bezos go up there, and you see Virgin Atlantic and all these folks go up there. Is that something in your future? But or maybe it is, or what's it
is at some point. I have had invites to get involved in that, but what I first focused on was something a little bit more tangible, on a larger scale. So, for example, I'm doing some projects with a company called Beta Technologies and Uber Air. I don't know if you guys have ever even heard of Uber Air.
I've heard of Uber Air.
Right? So I'm sure you're very familiar, because many cities, city leaders are starting to pay attention to this. The way in which we catch Ubers are going to radically change. So, for example, instead of, let's say you want to go to downtown Miami right now, you know,
a lot of traffic.
A lot of traffic, right? Could easily be 45 minutes or 2 hours. Well, you're going to get inside of an all-electrical aircraft that looks kind of like a plane, helicopter, and drone at the same time. And within 15 minutes, you'll be there.
What?
Yeah. And this isn't futuristic. I'm already training on this stuff with Beta Technologies. This up in Vermont, the technology already exists. Right? It's already here. And they don't even have job descriptions yet for these different career fields. And so that's the next big one for me. And I think after that, then I'll dabble into space and stuff like that. But now I just spoke to a student 3 weeks ago who started in our program, was involved in building a race car, and now he's working at SpaceX, launching rockets.
That's amazing.
Right, in Texas. So it's quite interesting, just the opportunities that's going to abound for young people that we don't even know how to describe right now. And things are just rapidly changing. I mean, we're all going to be wearing clothes in the near future that breathes for us. So when you start sweating, your clothes, just like certain reptiles and different creatures, will start moving and breathing as you wear it to reduce the way in which you sweat. Wow. So it's all these fascinating things that's just coming down the pipeline because, you could 3D print your own clothes.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I that Uber stuff is fascinating because I know with the traffic issues in South Florida, I mean, if you can pull that off right on, I mean, it's very soon. I think you would be a hero for many folks.
It's a major project. We're getting ready to set a record with that vehicle. It's either going to happen fall of next year or spring of 23. COVID has thrown some things off there, but this isn't like 3, 4, 5 years, 20 years down the road. I guarantee you're going to see us in the next at least 18 months.
I heard that 18 months.
Yeah.
Hey, that is amazing. So Barrington, one thing that we do here when we're wrapping up is that we flip the script, and you could ask me any question you want, any questions you might have. So, we like to do that towards the end.
Wow. All right. Let me ask this question. Since I live in the community and I love living here, Miami Lakes, I still consider it to be a hidden gem. Right, I enjoy the neighborhood. I enjoy the presence of family interaction and all those things. What do you think is the next big step for the city as relates to maintaining that? Right, because that's why I love going to other parts of Miami, but Miami Lakes always feels like home. What do you think is the next big step in trying to maintain that?
So that's a great question. So something that happened when the town got built back in the 70s, they did a great job. Incredible amenities, right? You had a beautiful golf course. Mm-hmm. You had amazing Main Street. Miami Lakes Optimus Park was the best park in Northwest State. But what happened since the last 40 years, 50 years, we kind of got left behind, right? You saw things kind of falling apart, not maintaining itself, Main Street kind of disappearing. Yep. But now we're moving forward. You're having some major projects. The movie theater just got demolished. I don't know if you know that.
No, really?
The inside of the theater is gone. It's getting redeveloped, and it's going to have a lot of cool stuff.
Long overdue.
Long overdue.
Oh, wow. I'm happy to hear that.
So that is a game changer for the center core. You're going to have the recliners. You can get your seat on your phone.
Good.
You can reserve it.
Good.
It is going to be amazing. The golf course is going to be redeveloped as well. There's going to be one of the aspects that's really interesting. They're going to have like the Top Golf, that driving range.
Yep.
Type of you have the little booth, TV, chill with the family, drinks, food. You're going to have that, which is long overdue. That golf course hasn't been touched.
Yes.
In 40 years.
Yep.
I mean, literally in 40 years. The other one, the major one, is Miami Lakes Optimus Park. I mean, you have light poles there that are 50 years old and they're wooden. Last night, we literally moved forward with the option to redevelop the entire park. It's going to go out to a referendum of the voters, but I can tell you the vast majority of our residents believe in it because exactly that. How do we keep attracting young families here and keeping them here is by adding those types of amenities where people are like, Miami Lake, I can work in Miami Lakes, I can live in Miami Lakes, I can play in Miami Lakes, and I think, but we got to keep up with it.
Yep.
So those things are in motion, and I think those are game changers, and people are starting to realize it. So you're seeing a lot of people that say, hey, I want to raise my family. Where do I raise? Miami Lakes.
That's what happened for me. I moved to Miami Lakes in 2016, and I was like, man, it's a great place to not only raise a family, but 90% of what you need to do can be done right within Miami Lakes.
I think that's powerful, and that's why people want to live here. So those types of changes. Now, if you want to go on a date night or whatever, now you go to the movie theater. It's all brand new, set up. You reserve it on your phone. You got your seats waiting for you. There was a while when I wanted to go watch a movie. If I didn't get there 30 minutes before, I'd have to sit in the front row of the theater because it was packed. And
I'll be honest with you. I don't know when the last time I've been to the theater here locally. I end up driving 20, 30, 40 minutes to go somewhere else with a nicer facility. So I'm really excited to hear.
Yeah, you go to West. I go to West Fork and
so the new one they built in Pembroke Pines.
Yep.
Sometime. Yeah.
So now a lot of folks like me and you and our families, instead of leaving, we can do all those things here. If we don't got to go to Dorado Topgolf, it's going to be right here.
Absolutely.
We want to go out to the park. There's going to be walking trails, new tennis courts,
that's
new
nice.
an airnasium. So if you want to play basketball on a new court, it's covered. You know, you can shoot hoops,
Nice.
volleyball. I mean, there's so many different things now that are going to be at play. But I think it goes back to that. You can live 90% of what we got to do is right here. So
because that grows the economy here and it supports the small businesses. It's another thing I love about Miami Lakes. A lot of it is driven by small businesses.
No, you're absolutely right. So I really appreciate you, unless you got any other questions. But
this was amazing, man. I got to get you up in the air someday.
Oh, I'm down.
We got to film that. We got to film that.
What? We do a live podcast? Can we do a live? Yeah, we could do a live.
We could do it. We could pull it off.
Oh, no, it's done. You tell me when. We're setting it up.
We'll do it as it cools down. So let's say like maybe November, December as it starts to cool down.
How many folks can you fit in the?
In this one, 6 to 8, depending on size.
What?
Yeah, the whole crew can go.
Oh no, that's done deal.
That's
November. Done. No, you count on that. That
November, December. Seriously.
That's awesome. So anything else you want to add in closing?
No, just really appreciate what you're doing and. It's an honor to not only be here with you, but the students making it happen. Thanks to the sponsors once again. And, yeah, man, I'm looking forward to doing more.
No, we'll see you in November. I'm really looking forward to that. So that's Miami Lakes resident Barrington Irving, who's an incredible inspiration, has broken world records, has broken racial barriers, is somebody who's really motivated our community. But I'm really honored to have him here with us. And in November, we're going to be hitting the skies with him in a live. We're taking the classroom up in the sky. We're really looking forward to that. For sure. So we're looking forward to that. We'll see you next week. Tune in on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Take care.
Blue skies.